part. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about some K-means problems, then linear model, and then Friday we are going to discuss about the statical problem like probability density, what is that, fuzzy lossy, all the things we are going to discuss. Okay, so let me start with the introduction. The machine learning. Most of the questions for the mid same, that is the guarantee that they will ask from the machine learning. So that's why this part is very important. So they will ask question from the game theory and the machine learning both combined. The question level is very easy, don't worry. I will discuss the before examination, that means the last week. So I'm going to start. So as you know, see, already studied about the machine learning. So what is the machine learning? Basically, machine can be learned from the previous data. So, okay, so we have a data set. So we have a data set. On the data set, we have to train the machine. Okay, we have to train the machine, and machine will learn and generate the some logic. Machine will learn and generate the some logic, and this logic can generate some output. So that is the machine learning. That means we have a machine and we have a data set, and data set we have to train the machine, and machine can generate the logic, and that we can give the output we can apply on the rest of the data. Okay, so that is machine learning. So we can say that the machine learning is a field of study that gives the computer the capability to learn without being explicitly programmed. That means without doing any programming, machine will be generate output. So that is the task of machine learning. Now, when we're talking about the machine learning, so we are using the knowledge-based agent. Okay, so machine learning having some previous knowledge of, so that means we can get the past experience. Okay, so I'm talking about the past experience. So machine having some past experience, on the basis of it can be take a decision. Okay, and the performance will be increases day by day. Okay, so this is the process we have to increase the performance through machine learning. Okay, so machine said to be, suppose someone asking what is learning from machine learning, what is learning for a machine. So we can this is the questions they will ask you, what is a learning for a machine. So a machine said to be learning from the past experience. That means what we have data feed to them with respect to some class of task. It, if it performance in given a task improve the experience, so that is the way of we can use. So we can say that the previous knowledge, we can use our previous knowledge, and we can say that the past knowledge. Okay, so that is the process we have to use the machine learning. Okay, so basically what we have to do, basically what we have to do, suppose we have a system. Okay, now, so here we have to feed the data. Okay, so here machine will be there present. We can enter the data in the machine. Machine will be apply, so we can apply some algorithm, and it can generate a logic. ओके, सो दैट इज द प्रोसेस. हमने डेटा को दिया मशीन को, मशीन पर हमने कुछ एल्गोरिदम सेटअप किए, और उस एल्गोरिदम से कुछ लॉजिक निकल के आया, और उस लॉजिक पर फिर हम लोग फिर कुछ डेटा, अननोन डेटा जो मशीन के पास पहले से अवेलेबल नहीं है, उसके बेसिस पे हम लोग रिजल्ट को प्रिडिक्ट करते हैं. दैट इज अ वे ऑफ मशीन लर्निंग. एंड हियर when we can use the machine learning, so we are talking about the performance. We are talking about the performance, and performance will be increases day by day on the basis of experience. Now see, best example है human being. हमारे पास कुछ एक्सपीरियंस था क्लास 10th में, ऑटोमेटिक हमारे पास एक्सपीरियंस इंक्रीज हुआ 12th में, देन बीटेक, देन आफ्टर जॉब. So that is the whole process of life. We can gain experience and your performance will be increases. That's it. So that is the machine learning. Okay, and here, so how can learn experience? That means you can use the previous data. So that is the point. We can learn from the previous data. जो हमारा रियल लाइफ में जो हम चीजें देख कर सीखते हैं, यहाँ हम लोग डेटा सेट से सीखते हैं. ओके, सो व्हेन यू टॉकिंग अबाउट द टाइप ऑफ लर्निंग, so there are the different type of learning. So first learning is, so I'm talking about the type of learning. So type of learning, first one is a supervised. Second one is a unsupervised. Okay, then third one is a semi supervised. And the fourth one is a reinforcement. Okay, these are the type of learning, say supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement. Okay, so I think you are already studying machine learning. In which semester you did your study the machine learning? पढ़ेंगे? Okay, so now see, in the last week, I'm talking about the last week's very crucial week. So don't bunk the classes. Okay, so study. You all are bunk the classes. Yes or no? Study. No one present in the class. Theory class. Okay, so my request is don't bunk the classes because I have to complete the syllabus. Otherwise, you can miss the. We are not able to answer the questions during examination. Okay, so now this sixth and seventh unit is very important, and the last unit is a prologue. So prologue, we can you are able to cover all the things because we have to do like a C programming, arithmetic operations, for loop, then array we have to discuss. So my priorities is first complete the uh, because that is a very easy. You are able to complete, and during a lab practical we are able to complete. Okay, so this week you have not conducted the lab. So today and study. So today and tomorrow, lab is cancelled. Okay, you can go for that one. The next week can cover the lab all the things. Okay. Now see, so when we're talking about the supervised learning, so what is meaning of that supervised learning? So now that supervised learning is always covered by the daily life. Now see, we have a data set, okay, and data set. So what type of data set? That means a label data set. I'm talking about the label data set where input is defined and where output is defined with parameter. When we're talking about the supervised learning, the input is defined and output is also defined with parameters. Here, there is no miss of data, there is no duplication, everything is possible in a label data set. So input and output parameter will be defined, and on the basis of we can apply the machine learning. Okay, and we can predict the output, and we can see how much your output is accurate to the right answer. Okay, now आपके पास पहले से आउटपुट अवेलेबल है, हम उसको मशीन्स को ट्रेन कर रहे हैं और उसके पास देख रहे हैं कि ये आउटपुट उसके करीब आ रहा है कि नहीं. अगर नहीं आ रहा है तो देन वी हैव टू ऐड मोर डेटा सेट, and the data set condition is the label. So label data set. So what is the label? So meaning of the label data set is both input and output is given. So that is the meaning of the label data set. Okay, so don't be confused. What is the label data set? What is the input parameter? What is the output parameter? So input parameter on which machine can be predict the output, and what is the output parameter? We already know. Now see, suppose take one example. We have a different type of your student, your gender, age, and salary and marks. Everything is there, and we have to train that machine. Suppose this type of category of student comes again, then what will be the output? So already we have a data set like input and output. On the basis of we can perform the supervised learning. So in supervised learning, there is very important is that label data set. And what is the meaning of label data set? That means input and output is given. That is the meaning of so now see here in supervised learning, I am talking about the supervised learning. So these are the intro part is very important. Supervised learning. In supervised learning, what we have to divide? Suppose we have a data set we have a data set. When you're talking about the data set, that means the 100%. And this data set be converted into 80% and 20%. Okay. So what is the 80%? That means we have to train the system. Train the system, here we have to test that system. That means 80% data can be used to train the system. That means हम आपको मशीन्स को लर्न कराएंगे 80% डेटा को आउट ऑफ 100 में, और उसके बाद जब हमारे पास लॉजिक क्रिएट हो जाएगा, उस लॉजिक को हम लोग टेस्ट किस पे करेंगे, 20% से. एंड दैट इज अ सुपरवाइज लर्निंग. एंड व्हाट इज द सुपरवाइज लर्निंग? द की पॉइंट, we can use a labeled data set. That means what we have given, we have a given a input and we have a given a output. Okay, so that is, we can say that that is the structural data set. Structure, that means एक structure दिया होता है जिससे एक pattern होता है और उससे हम लोग output. So यहाँ पे हमें performance check करना है, क्योंकि already know the output. हमें पहले से we have a previous knowledge of output. हमारे पास पहले से इसमें डेटा सेट से आउटपुट पता है, बट हमें चेक करना होता है कि हाउ मच वी आर एक्यूरेट, हमारी मशीन कितनी एक्यूरेट कर रही है व्हेन वी जनरेट द लॉजिक. Okay, so that is the supervised learning. And supervised learning, we have a different part, like a classification and regression model. Okay, so in supervised learning we are discuss about two parts. The part A in a supervised learning, classification. Classification, and the B part is regression. Okay, so regression, that means no label, no labels defined. Okay, so what is the meaning of classification? So that means classification, we have to take our outputs, define a label, so we can talking about the discrete value. Discrete value. So what is the meaning of discrete? 0 or 1. That means when we apply the classification, like which type of data set, where we can define a label. That means yes or no. Okay, जहां पर आपको yes और no का जरूरत पड़े, वहां पर हम लोग क्या करते हैं, क्लासिफिकेशन को डिफाइन करते हैं. अब ऐसा नहीं कि आप रिग्रेशन में क्लासिफिकेशन लगा दो, रिग्रेशन में लेबल्स ही नहीं होते, तो हाउ कैन डिफाइन यस या नो. यहां पर क्या होता है, यहां पर हम लोग बात करते हैं लेबल डेटा सेट का. Okay, that means input and output is given, then we can define yes or no. Now suppose we have a customer data set, और आपके पास, हमारे पास कस्टमर डेटा सेट है, और ये कौन कौन से आइटम्स को परचेस कर पाता है. तो अगर ये नेक्स्ट बार आता है तो हम लोग तो क्लासिफिकेशन लगा सकते हैं ना, कि इस बंदे को कौन सा ऑफर पसंद है और ये खरीदेगा कि नहीं खरीदेगा. तो दैट इज यस या. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द क्वांटिटी, हाउ मच क्वांटिटी इट विल बी. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द रियल नंबर, like 8, 10, 2000, 800, like this one. But when we are talking about the no labelable data, that means there is no defined output. कि output क्या आएगा, हमारे पास सिर्फ input है, output के बारे में पता नहीं है, then we go for the regression. So now the best example is regression is, we can predict the बायोसेंसर डिसीज, कि हम किस स्टेज पर हैं कैंसर के डिसीज पे, या किसी भी हार्डकोर डिसीज है वो कौन से स्टेज पर है. सो इट कैन बी डिफाइंड बाय द रिग्रेशन. ओके, सो इज इट क्लियर? नाउ सी. So now when you're talking about the classification, so classification, discrete value, and here now see here the output. I'm talking about the output. Here the output is a continuous value. Continuous value. So what is the meaning of continuous value? Like 8.0, 8.1, 9.2, 5.6, like these are the continuous value. That means the real number. We can get a real number in a regression part. Okay, where output is defined as the continuous value. Is it clear? So now when we're talking about the supervised learning, so we are discussed about here, we're not discussed, but these are comes inside a linear regression. Second one is a nearest neighbor, which are going to study. nearest neighbor, NIZHBOUR, and the third one is the random forest. Fourth one is the SVM, support vector machine, and this is the decision tree. And this one is a Gaussian naive Bayes. So these are the regression type, okay, where we are discussing about the continuous value. Now see, the thing is that how to classify all the things. Okay, now thing is that how to classify, where there is a only output is given by yes or no, then go for the classification. Where we need to define a continuous, how much, जहां पर भी हम बात करेंगे ना how much, कितना है, कितनी वैल्यू हो सकती है, वहां go for the regression. So linear regression, nearest neighbor, random forest, SVM, decision, and Gaussian. So most of the time we can use a regression model. Okay, we most of the time we can use a regression model. Now see, when we define this one, supervised learning, how can define in a diagram. So this one is the, suppose I have to apply the algorithm, and this algorithm generate the some logic, and here we have to enter the data set. Okay, and after getting the data set, okay, so then logic will be my next logic, and here we have to define again next input, and here you can generate the output. So this is the supervised learning. हमारे पास कुछ डेटा सेट था, so that is called wait, this is called training, and this is called test data set. Okay, so now see, this is the whole diagram of supervised learning. So we can say that this is the supervised learning. सुपरवाइज लर्निंग, ओके, तो ये हमारा सुपरवाइज लर्निंग है. क्या हमारे पास है, एल्गोरिथम है, डेटा सेट डाला, लॉजिक बनाया, फिर इनपुट डाला. अब यहाँ पे इनपुट क्या मतलब क्या हुआ, जो हमारा 20%. सो हियर व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, हियर वी हैव टू यूज द 80% डेटा सेट, एंड हियर यूज टू यूज 20%. दिस वन इज द डेटा, दिस वन इज द डेटा. ओके, so don't be confused. So these are the supervised learning. Now discuss about the unsupervised learning. Now see, in unsupervised learning, here we don't give the target to the model. Okay, now second part is unsupervised. Okay, so now in the supervised learning we have give the target. That means we have an input and an output, then we give the target. But in an unsupervised learning, we don't give the target. On the basis of data, unstructured data, that means called the some input, only input parameter is there, not a output parameter. And on the basis of, we can create a logic and we have to predict the output. So that is called unsupervised learning. So in the real life, most of the time you can use a unsupervised learning. जैसे हमारे पास कुछ डेटा एक्सपीरियंस सीखा, सपोज हम लोग प्लान बनाते हैं ना कि भाई आज हमें ये करना है, और वो चीज़ें होती नहीं है, दैट मीन्स योर लॉजिक इज रॉन्ग. ओके, सो दैट इज द अनसुपरवाइज्ड लर्निंग. अगर आपने वो कर दिया, सो योर लॉजिक इज करेक्ट, अदरवाइज नॉट. बट वी हैव टू रीच दैट आउटपुट, सो वी हैव टू रिटर्न. द पॉइंट इज दैट हियर व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, don't give target to model. Okay, here only input parameter is present. Here only input parameter is present. Okay, on the basis of we can use our data. So now the training data. Now here how to train. There are two possibilities of training data: on structured data, जहां पर आपके पास कुछ डेटा में नॉइज होगा, कुछ डेटा मिसिंग होगा, कुछ डेटा डुप्लीकेट होगा। तो यहाँ पर हमारे पास जब ट्रेनिंग डेटा के पास जाएंगे अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग में, सो व्हाट टाइप ऑफ ट्रेनिंग डेटा, व्हाट टाइप ऑफ फीडिंग डेटा, सो डेटा जब फीड करते हैं हम लोग, so what will be the confusion? First one will be comes out, first will be comes out unstructured data, and second possibility is unlabeled data. Unlabeled data. So there is a two possibility in unsupervised learning when we try to feed the data to the machine, unstructured data. So what is the unstructured meaning here? That means I'm talking about noisy data. Okay, noisy data set. So noisy data set, or we can say that the missing data set. Okay, and a structured data here only unlabeled, that means only input parameters involved, input data is available. Okay, only input data is available, don't talking about the output data. So that is the point. Okay, okay. So now see, so this is the process for the feeding of data, and same process we have to apply and approach the now. When what happened? Now see, here is the main point is that when you're talking about the unlabeled data, then what happened? When only input data is available, after input data, we have to get a output data, and that will be work as a supervised learning. That means at the some stage, your unsupervised learning is work as a supervised learning when you get a output data set. So that is the process we have to apply the now. So now see, so how can understand and how can make a logic? That is important. भाई हम कैसे अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग में एक आउटपुट जनरेट करेंगे और कैसे हम लॉजिक को क्रिएट करेंगे. So there is a two possibility to generate the output. The first possibility we can use the clustering method, clustering, and the second is called the association. Okay, so now see, so what is clustering? आपको समझ में आना चाहिए क्लस्टरिंग क्या होता है. That means a small group of the same type of nature of group. That means अगर आपके क्लासरूम में हम क्लस्टर बनाना चाहें तो क्लस्टर क्या होगा? एक ऐसे ग्रुप का क्लस्टर होगा जिनका CGPA 6.0 हो, एक ऐसे ग्रुप का क्लस्टर होगा जिसका CGPA 7.0 हो, एक ऐसे ग्रुप का क्लस्टर होगा जिसका CGPA 8.0. So these are the small of group we can make on the basis of some parameter, on the basis of some association, and we have to create a लॉजिक. उसके बाद हम जब ग्रुप बनाने के बाद क्या करते हैं, वी हैव टू ट्राई टू communicate to the one cluster to the another cluster. Okay, so we have to not given a output parameter, so technique will be used to group the clients based upon the input parameters provided by your data. Okay, now when you're talking about the association group, so association आपको मतलब समझना जोड़ना. Okay, so यहाँ पर क्या होगा, same like similar to the clustering, but difference is that sometimes here we have to don't know these are possible or not association, but we can understand, we can club together, and on the basis of we have to generate the logic, that is called the association. So little bit different from the clustering and association. Okay, so now, so this is the clustering. Now nowadays IBM are using the clustering method to observe our client. कैसे? हम लोग यहाँ पे आपने नाम सुना होगा VMware का. ओके, तो अब देखो जो नेटवर्क इंजीनियर्स होते हैं क्या करना उनका काम होता है, हमारे पास 1000 क्लाइंट्स हैं. ओके, और 1000 क्लाइंट्स की अलग अलग रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं. सो हमने क्या किया, हमने क्लस्टर बनाया कि भैया जो हमारे पास कि 200 क्लाइंट ऐसे हैं जिनका रिक्वायरमेंट सिमिलर है, हम नॉट इक्वल टू एग्जैक्ट बोल रहे, सिमिलर है, और कुछ क्लाइंट्स ऐसे हैं जो 100 क्लाइंट्स ऐसे हैं जो हमारे पास उनका रिक्वायरमेंट कुछ अलग से, सपोज इनका रिक्वायरमेंट ए है और बी है. तो IBM ने क्या करके रखा है, उन्होंने VMware पर एक क्लस्टर बनाया, ग्रुप बनाया, और 200 और 100 का, अगर इसमें से किसी एक को भी वो इश्यू अराइज होता है रियल टाइम में, so they can arise. That means group A will be pop up. तो आप समझ जाओगे ना कि भाई मुझे सर्च कहाँ करना है, 200 के अंदर ही करना है। और 200 के अंदर हम छोटे छोटे और क्लस्टर बना सकते हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि क्लस्टर के अंदर क्लस्टर नहीं बना सकते। क्लस्टर के अंदर आप एसोसिएशन बना सकते हो कि भैया ये इस टाइप का है, तो इसमें क्या, ये इसमें क्या, तो आपको इससे इजी होगा डिबग को फाइंड आउट करना। सो दैट इज द इम्पोर्टेंट ऑफ क्लस्टर, कि जहां पर हमें आउटपुट पता नहीं है, अनलेबल डेटा पे जब भी वर्क करेंगे, सो वी कैन पुट ऑन द क्लस्टरिंग मेथड। ओके, क्लियर? So here, when we're talking about the clustering, so here we can use k-means algorithm. Then here we can use also, that is a famous algorithm, k-means. The nearest neighbor is alag and k-means is alag. Okay, so here you can use a DBSCAN scan. That means density based spital clustering of application with noisy. Okay, so these are the advanced algorithm you can use, DBSCN. Okay, and the hierarchical clustering. Now hierarchical clustering, that means we have to create a one clustering, on the basis of we can generate on clustering, like this one, tree structure clustering. Okay, hierarchical, we have to step by step process. Okay, so these are the things. The third one is a semi supervised. So now, when we discuss about the semi-supervised learning, that means both combination of supervised and unsupervised learning. So no need to be tell. So that means what happened here. So little bit part of the supervised, that means sometimes is given label and unlabeled, sometimes only label data, sometimes unstructured data, sometimes unstructured data is possible in a supervised learning. On the basis of requirement, we have to generate a target and all the things we have to set the portion. Okay. So now see, what is the diagram of the unsupervised learning? So we have to learn. Now see, so when you're talking about the diagram, so now see, this one is the input, and here this is the algorithm, and here this will be the result. Okay, so this is the supervised unsupervised learning. अब देखो हमारे पास क्या था, यहाँ पर हमारे पास क्या हुआ, हमने इनपुट दिया और एल्गोरिदम जनरेट किया, उससे ही रिजल्ट निकाल लिया, क्योंकि हमारे पास तो आउटपुट नहीं है ना टेस्ट करने के लिए. सो दैट इज द वन फेज. ये नॉट गो फॉर द ट्रेनिंग फेज. यहीं पर ट्रेनिंग ही हो गया और सब कुछ एक ही जगह हो गया. Okay, so did not divide the data in a different part. Okay, so best possibility we can do a unsupervised learning. Okay, input data, then algorithm. So what is the algorithm? That means K means clustering algorithm. Okay, so these are the algorithm part. Okay, now semi supervised, you know, so based upon the agent, that is the cyclic, we can say that. So now, so semi supervised, both supervised and unsupervised. Okay, so now see, sometimes they will ask, what is the difference between supervised unsupervised learning, what is the semi supervised learning, how it will be different, how we can perceive which data set will go for the semi supervised, which data set will define for the unsupervised, what is the classification, what is the clustering. So this type of questions they will ask in 1 marks, so be careful. Okay, now talking about fourth one, that is the last one type of reinforcement. So this type is always come inside the AI part. Okay, now give me the time. Okay, reinforcement learning, what will be happen? In reinforcement learning, we have to predict the pattern. Okay, and we have to increase the performance. And in reinforcement learning, परफॉर्मेंस इंक्रीजिंग डे बाय डे. अब देखो कैसे, यहां पर क्या होता है, इन इन reinforcement learning, Agent will be perceive the environment. On the basis of the environment, it will take a decision. And when we take a decision, we have a reward something. जैसे आप लोग गेम खेलते हो, राइट? हम लोग जब गेम खेलते हैं क्या करते हैं? सबसे पहले हमने खेलने उतरा. सपोज मैं क्रिकेट खेल रहा हूँ, तो फर्स्ट टाइम जब गया तो मैंने 50 रन बनाए और किसी कारण आउट हो गया, तो मैंने समझ गया कि मैंने ये गलती की है और आउट हो गया. तो जब मैं सेकेंड बार जब मेरी बारी आएगी, सो आई विल ट्राई टू इम्प्रूव दैट कि I can score more than 50. So that is the reinforcement learning. Perceive the environment on the basis of find out the pattern and give the result and get the reward. Suppose my reward is 500 is the last one and suppose I'm getting 200. तो मैं क्या करूंगा? फिर से अपनी एक्यूरेसी को बढ़ाऊंगा, फिर से एनवायरमेंट को परसेप्ट करूंगा और चाहूंगा तो उस रिवॉर्ड तक पहुंचूं. तो हियर वी कैन इंट्रोड्यूस द टर्म्स ऑफ रिवॉर्ड. दैट मीन्स एक्सीलेंस, गुड. नाउ जो भी आप लोग करते हो, जब सबसे एग्जांपल आपका टेस्ट मार्क्स और रिजल्ट, आपको मिड सेम दिया जाता है, मिड सेम 1 एंड मिड सेम 2. अगर आपने मिड सेम 1 में खराब किया तो यू हैव अ चांस टू इंक्रीज मोर मार्क्स इन मिड सेम 2. तो दैट इज द रेनफोर्समेंट लर्निंग. आप इन्वायरमेंट को देखकर एट अ करेंट टाइम में वर्किंग कर रहे हो. सो दैट इज द इन्वायरमेंट लर्निंग. ओके, so that is the agent can be learned from the experience and increase the performance. So here what will be happen? So basically reinforcement learning, we can go for diagram like this one is the agent, and suppose this side is the environment. Okay, now so what happened? So agent will be perceived on the basis of take a action. Okay, perceive the environment, and it will be this is the this side is a state. Okay, and whatever it gives the, so this will be the reward. Reward. Okay, so this is an enforcement. एजेंट हुआ, एक्शन के एनवायरमेंट पे स्टेट चेंज हुआ, फिर एजेंट के पास गया और इन्वायरमेंट पे जब एक्शन हुआ तो उसी टाइम रिवॉर्ड मिला. तो वो कौन से स्टेट पे गया? सो दैट इज द प्रोसेस. ओके, सो बेसिकली रेनफोर्समेंट लर्निंग हम लोग गेम में बहुत यूज करते हैं. ओके, हर बार हम ट्राई करते हैं ना इंप्रूव करने का अपने गेम के क्वालिटी को. सो दीज आर द मशीन लर्निंग टाइप: supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. So they will ask you how to frame the question. So they will ask you what is the reinforcement learning, why this is a different from others learning, and how agent can be learned. Okay, now see, when we're talking about the reinforcement learning, that means we're talking about the AI. Now in AI, different type of agent, simple agent, model based agent, and goal based agent, है ना, बहुत सारे. सो देखो, अगर हम एजेंट्स की बात कर रहे थे, यहाँ पे सारे एजेंट लग गए. सो अगर कोई पूछता है कि रेनफोर्समेंट लर्निंग कैसे होती है, सो यू आर एबल टू राइट ऑल द थिंग्स. भाई ये इस टाइप के एजेंट्स होते हैं और ये इस टाइप से रन करके अपने परफॉर्मेंस को इंक्रीज करते हैं. ऐसा थोड़ा है कि मशीन एआई में हम लोग नहीं बात करते. सो नाउ सी, वट एवर द एल्गोरिथम ऑफ एआई वी कैन अप्लाई इन एमएल. Okay, so now see, ML is a subset of, that is called the proper subset, not a subset, proper subset of AL. Sorry, not AL, AI. So अब समझ में आ गया रेनफोर्समेंट लर्निंग क्या आ गया, जो एजेंट के पार्ट है. तो जितना भी एजेंट का काम है, टाइप्स ऑफ एजेंट है, सारे इन्फोर्समेंट में आ जाएंगे. हाँ, ये नहीं आएंगे कि अनसुपरवाइज में नहीं आ सकते हैं, सुपरवाइज में नहीं आ सकते. वहां पे हमने इनपुट आउटपुट ये सब चाहिए. सो डोंट बी कंफ्यूज. ओके, and here basically we are discussing about reinforcement learning approximate learning. We are talking about how the approximate. Now approximate, you know the meaning of approximate, कि हमारे पास environment क्या है, partially observed है, and partially observed environment को हम लोग कैसे output declare करेंगे जो हमारे accuracy को improve कर दे. So that will be done by reinforcement. So in the next class, we are going to discuss about approximate learning, approximate function, then probability density function, and nearest neighbor. Okay, so these things are going to discuss in a Thursday and Friday, and the next week you are trying to complete your syllabus. Okay, so don't be absent during the classroom. Okay, theory classroom. Okay, Vivek. Yeah, Vivek, are you present? So tomorrow you bunk the classes, Vivek. Okay, no problem. No, that means I'm talking about the theory class.